Wake Up with Patti Katter.
I love the show.
I never miss an episode. It's the best.
I turn it on and turn it up.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to and watching Wake Up with Patti Katter. I have Dr. Antonio Harrison on the show today. I'm especially excited about having him on because he helped me in more ways than he realized. Those of you who are listening know that I've been in the military veteran caregiver community as a caregiver to my husband for 14 years. And I also help other veterans. I'm always putting everybody first. I've tried to go to the gym and work out, and I just don't like the feeling of it. I don't have very much fun. I'm a little bit uncoordinated, so it takes me a while. Like if I go to a class, everybody keeps moving, and it's a little too intense for me to start out. I just felt a little intimidated. So I actually heard about Dr. Antonio when I bought an Oculus Quest. It's a virtual reality headset. And I did it to get more active, but I didn't know there were actually fitness games on it. I just knew I'd be moving around a little bit. And I found a game on there the first day I bought it called Supernatural. And I went ahead and did the subscription. And Dr. Harrison is a fitness instructor on that game. So Dr. Harrison, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Patti. I appreciate you having me, and please call me Antonio.
Okay, Antonio, I'll take you up on that. All right. So if you could go ahead and just tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, how you were growing up, where you came from, that would be fantastic.
Very cool. I was born and raised in Pasadena, California. I had a pretty rough childhood. The crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s in Los Angeles took a grip of my household with my dad, and in and out of jail, and just dealing with things that, young kids should never see in their life, or things they should never experience. But sports and athletics was my safe haven. From the age of 4, I started organized sports. I started actually with swimming and basketball, and then I went on to basketball, football, and track, and then ended up playing college football in a 4-stoplight town in Iowa. And I love the Midwest. I love down south. That's where my dad's from. And so there was just a connection there. I'm kind of a country boy at heart. But it wasn't until I had a pretty bad knee injury my senior year that I came back home. I wasn't planning on moving back to California, but I'm glad I did. It led to going to grad school, getting a master's and a PhD in behavior analysis, teaching grad school, coaching high school football for 12 years now. For 6 years, I was a head coach for a varsity high school program. Took 2 years off, and now I've been an assistant head coach and defensive coordinator. And it's also led to me training clients and kind of having my own consulting business and just doing a lot of different things, which Supernatural presented itself, and I jumped on that the moment I could. And also allowed me to find my wife and have my 3 beautiful children, all boys. It's a lot of testosterone in this house. So that's where I am today.
Wow, that's quite a journey. So you were talking about your dad having some issues. Did you find that you were going to your sporting events by yourself, or how did you keep motivated?
Well, it was interesting. If he was incarcerated, obviously he couldn't be there. But for the most part, my dad coached me in every sport until I got into high school. So it was almost like that was the bonding time I had with my father. And he was a really great dad in the sense of loving me and making me feel special and seeing great potential in me. It was just that when we weren't at the sporting events and we were at home, that's when he would do his thing. And it got to a point where once my mom kind of let the cat out of the bag of why Christmas gifts or birthday gifts were being pawned, or why dad was gone for a couple of days at a time, I was around 10 years old. And so once we all knew in the family, he just decided to use inside of the house. And that's when things got a little crazy. So at that time, it really was a safe haven going to sports. But the interesting thing was that was also where I saw the best side of my father.
That is interesting. It's like a silver lining.
Exactly.
So you said you have 3 boys. Are they athletic as well?
They are. My oldest has probably the best sports IQ. My middle one is probably the best athlete. And my youngest one, he's just kind of brute force.
Mhm.
So he's the kid that, like, if he ever decides to play football, I worry about other people's children for them, right? So, but we'll see. I don't like to coach them. I'll help if they ask, but I want to be the dad who sits in the stands and cheers them on and supports them in whatever they want to do. If they want to play sports, great. If not, just as long as they're doing something they're passionate about.
I love that. So when you received the call for Supernatural, how did they explain to you what you would be doing? Because it is a little bit different.
Yeah. So when I walked into the company is called Within that builds the app for Supernatural. When I walked into headquarters and they were kind of explaining and trying to say, you've got these bats but you're going to be a coach and it's going to be voiceover. I wasn't really grasping the concept until they go, you know what? Let's stop here. And they put the headset on me and let me experience it. And I had the voiceover, I think, of Coach Leanne at the moment. She was the only one that was currently a coach. And I fell in love instantly. And I was like, I get to be a virtual reality fitness coach. Like, that's not a sentence I would ever put together.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped at the chance and we've been rocking it since, I want to say, February or March is when we started and April is when it debuted. And I've had a blast doing it.
It's fun for me. I mean, it's taken a lot for me to find something that I enjoy to be physical at. And so I love it. Every single day I'm turning it on and doing at least a couple workouts. I think it's kind of funny sometimes when I get about halfway through the workout and like if I start breathing really heavy, I'll think, he's not even working out and he's telling me what to do. I bet you he's just sitting there in his chair telling me what to do.
No, I'm actually, so one of the cool things is like, we'll shoot the videos for the warm up stretches and the cool down. Mm-hmm. But then after that, I actually get in the headset and I do the workout and do the voiceover at the same time so that I can experience what you're experiencing and understand like where you need to breathe, where you need to slow down. That's a lot of people be like, oh, you mentioned breathing right at the right time. It's like, yeah, because I was out of breath too. Mm-hmm. Right.
I wondered about that. Well, I'll feel a little bit better than when I'm like, oh, this guy, he's going to kill me. You're actually doing it too. So. All right. Well, that's good. Do you get any input on the music that's played or do they just tell you what they're going to do and then you just go with it, or how does that work?
So I get to share like my favorite genres of music and what I prefer to coach to. We have a content and creative team that curates the playlist and the themes that are given to us. So if you notice, some coaches have more of one genre than the other. Mm-hmm. I'm a real big hip hop fan. I'm also a real big R&B fan, funk fan. And so I tend to get more of those type of genres just because it brings out better coaching in me, right? Because I'm really invested in feeling it as opposed to music that I would never listen to.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Maybe that's another reason that you're one of my favorite coaches, because I really do enjoy the music that goes along with your coaching. I just didn't really put it together until right this second. So
yeah, the only one I've been surprised at that I enjoyed was the classical music. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't think about working out to classical music, and then when they put together good classical music songs into a sweat symphony workout, it just worked really well.
Now, is that the hardest level? That one, do you remember?
I think that might have been a high, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't done that one yet. I tried one high and I was just like, I just kept swinging at everything. I don't know what the heck was going on. I'm pretty new still. And my husband last night, he was watching me, I guess. I didn't know he was watching me while I was doing one of the workouts. And afterwards, he was laughing. He's like, the curtains were open and it's nighttime and everybody can see you. They're probably thinking you're crazy. And he's up.
You're just putting in work. That's all.
Yes. So what would you tell somebody who is new to Supernatural? Do you have any suggestions or tips for them as they just start out?
Yeah, I would say first off, have fun with it, right? Like, there's leaderboards and you get your scores for power and accuracy and overall point accumulation. And, competition, healthy competition is good. But, understand that there's going to be a learning curve, just like anything new you take on. So be easy on yourself, take your time, have some fun, enjoy it. And the other thing I would say is listen to your body, right? It's, as you mentioned, you find yourself wanting to jump into the headset and play often and get the workout in. But, you got to listen to your body. If something's a little tweaked or maybe you don't feel as well rested, try a lower intensity instead of jumping into a high one. Me personally, I always, if I do multiple workouts, I always start with the lower intensity to kind of get my body warmed up. So just listen to your body, have fun, and once you get the hang of things, then you can start ramping it up as much as you want.
I love that. That is true because the first week I noticed my knees hurt a lot. And I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I started really paying attention, and I was squatting wrong.
Yeah.
And so you really shouldn't have that kind of pain. If you're having pain, you're probably doing something wrong.
Yep.
So what do you have next in store for yourself?
Within Supernatural or just in general?
In general.
So I've been teaching grad school for close to 13 years now. This is my last semester coming up. I'll be done in June. I'm done. So with that, there are a lot of different things on the horizon. I've been creating a journal that is it's an approach to discipline to help people build habits for 100 days that I'm hoping to have out on shelves. I've been doing a lot of writing. I love to write. So I've been doing a lot of writing. We'll see if that comes together in some sort of book format. And then recently, I also coach some clients, in person. And some of my clients, as a nice Christmas gift, they put together a sweater for me with like hashtag Team Coach Doc. And
oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and I posted it to social media. Like, would people be interested? So there may be some workout gear and apparel with some of my favorite sayings and phrases on them. So but at the end of the day, I just love being a creative and having fun, and anything that piques my interest, I'm all about. So anybody got anything out there, let me know.
That is fun. I can't wait to see your apparel line. I'm excited about that because off record, I told Antonio that he's been my favorite coach. And so if you had some gear come out, I would totally buy it and I would rock that. Yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. What about Supernatural? Do you continue to coach, or how does that work? Do you think you're going to do another session, or how long have you been there?
So I go in every Monday and Thursday to record and to film. So that was one of the first questions I had when I came on board after about 2 months, and I realized we had like 100 different workouts. I kind of said like, hey, are you guys just going to do like 100 and then kind of stops, and then season 2 type thing comes out? And no, they're committed to 365. Well, it's a leap year, so 366 this year, days of workouts. And so we're going to continue to grow. We've added 2 more new coaches. So I plan on being there as long as they will have me. And one of the cool things that I love is I've been able to kind of have my own guided meditations through it. So I kind of get to do something a little different that a lot of people don't know that I do. So whether it's the guided meditations or the workouts, I'm in for the long haul as long as they'll have me.
That's interesting because I haven't done a guided meditation yet. I should. I love guided meditation. I didn't really think about it. So is it visual as well, or how does the guided meditation work on that?
Yeah, so it's actually really cool. They first started out as meditations on the end of workouts called slow burns at low intensity, but now they're their own separate things. And so you end up in an virtual environment where you can look around 360. And I ask you to either sit on the ground or in a chair. And then while you sit there and breathe and see this beautiful environment, you hear my voice guide you through a specific meditation that I've written that, whether it be about affirming the positive or staying open to receive or being thankful or grateful, or just, the fact that you should pat yourself on the back because of all you've been through, you're still here, right? Just getting people to recognize their greatest self and their own brilliance and light.
I love that. And I know a lot of my listeners will love that too. If you are listening, let me know if you do I have Quest 2, the Oculus. Does Supernatural work on any of the other Oculus platforms.
Well, I know it's on Quest 1 and Quest 2. I'm not sure if it works on Rift. I'm not really sure, but I know it definitely on the Quest. And then 2, if you are into guided meditations, but you don't want the visuals and you'd like to lay down, Insight Timer is a meditation app that I have like 10 different meditations varying from 3 to 5 to 10 minute length, and one that's 30. So that's been an interesting thing because I meditate a lot personally, and I've done guided meditations, and I didn't think that was something that would ever come out to the public, especially because I don't necessarily look like the meditation guy, right?
Yeah, you look like you're going to kick my ass.
But it's been really cool, and especially I've had an opportunity from people hearing my meditations to create personalized meditations by having a meeting with them, understanding what they want, and making something specifically for them that is one of one, completely unique just for them.
That's awesome. If you're listening out there and you do have a Quest, or if you can find Supernatural, let me know, because I'll add you as a friend and we can start competing against each other. I think that will be fun. I have a decent sized Facebook group and we all interact with each other really well. So I'm going to put that information in the group too when this podcast comes out. Antonio, one of the questions I like to ask, which you kind of touched on at the beginning, a trial that you've overcome. I would say that's a huge trial. Can you think of one other trial you may have had in your life where you've overcome that trial with triumph?
Yeah. I mentioned it briefly at the end of that introduction of myself. So in college, I was a 4-year starter for NCAA collegiate football. I was two-time all-conference. I was the rookie MVP of the team. I was the college's freshman athlete of the year. And, I was having a really good go at it. And going into my senior year, I really thought like I may have an opportunity to play beyond college. So I didn't go home. I stayed in this 4-stoplight town. I would work out twice a day. I would then drive to this nonprofit and do some great work for the community in Iowa. And I got the biggest, fastest, and strongest I've ever been in my life. And in my very first game of my senior year, the inside of my ankle touched my groin.
Oh.
No one hit me. I did a very athletic move that was against gravity. And my body just didn't, I landed funny. They had to put my leg back in place on the field, and I didn't tear the ligaments. They exploded. It was my LCL, PCL, IT band, hamstring, ACL, MCL, and with a complete knee and shin dislocation. So skin and meniscus was the only thing holding my leg together.
Oh my goodness.
And so I had my first surgery was basically 4 surgeries in one. And I was on the cutting table alone for 12 and a half hours. And about 10 hours into it, the anesthesia started to wear off.
Oh my
and this was before they could just like go in with a scope and do things. Like my leg was fully cut open.
Oh my goodness.
And so they were worried about me going into shock. And so they strapped me down crucifix style and flooded me with anesthesia, which put me in a medically induced coma for 3 days. I went in at about 195, 98 pounds, and I woke up at 146.
Wow.
Yeah. I was a shell of myself. Like I hadn't been 146 pounds since I was in middle school. I was kind of like this pale greenish color. And, next thing I know, I'm casted hip to toe for 9 months. And when I finally got out, and I had to continue to go to school my senior year, and I'm in Iowa when we had the worst winter that ever hit the 4 years I was there. So I'm crutching around in the snow. I'm trying to psychologically and emotionally handle my sport being done as an athlete all my life. I'm seeing other people and trying not to stay to myself and be isolated in my room. And it was really, really, really difficult on me physically, emotionally, psychologically. And I didn't walk without assistance of a cane or a crutch or anything until I walked across stage for graduation.
Wow.
And so I had to come home just for physical therapy. And, I needed help with things like showering, helping someone bring me a plate, rebuilding my muscle, being able to run again, still feeling like an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And the bigger part of it was I had been so attached with my identity to being an athlete that now I wasn't. I had to answer the question of like, who am I? Like, what am I all about? Like, I know I'm intelligent. I know I have a lot of different skills and interests, but the thing I love is gone, and it's gone forever. So what do I do next? And so, just through continued hard work, through obstacles, ups and downs, falling on my face, literally and figuratively, right? I kept pushing and kept pushing. And I think it was because of the discipline I got in sports, right? I was never going to let anything break my will or let anybody beat me, including myself. And so I really took that upon myself and pushed as much as I could in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's pretty big. And it's really surprising that you're still into fitness now, because that's you had to really cater around your injury, I'm assuming. How long did it take you to actually get back into full swing? And are you even in full swing, do you feel?
It took me 2.5 years to be able to sprint full speed and feel comfortable playing basketball. I would say I'm in completely back to it. The only thing that's different is my range of motion is different. Like, I can't bring my heel to my butt, and I can't, on a hardwood or concrete floor, like I can't kneel down.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts. It feels funny. But other than that, I can still dance. I can still play basketball. I can still have fun. I can work out and lift weights. There is no limitations. So I'm in full swing. And quite frankly, I had to stay in fitness after that, because if I didn't, the doctors told me, like, you're just going to fall apart. Like, the pounding you've put on your body from sports alone, but then you compound that with this knee injury. If you don't stay healthy and fit, you're going to struggle in your older years.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's really good that they told you that, because a lot of people, after they're hurt, some of their doctors just tell them, take it easy, or, they don't really talk about the future. And so that's really good that you had doctors like that. Do your kids ever get on, or any of your family members ever get on Supernatural and see you doing your thing there?
Yeah, no, my wife definitely does Supernatural. I let the kids try it. They're more into their PlayStation.
Yeah.
Right. And their Fortnite. So, that's their thing. But no, everyone has tried it, and anyone who comes over and kind of hears about what I do, because it's like you said, it's really hard to explain.
It is.
Right. And so I'm like, no, jump in the headset, enjoy yourself, have fun. You don't even have to do a whole workout. Just do one track and see what I'm talking about. So I share it with as many people as I can.
Yeah, I was at a friend's house the other night, and I was trying to explain to them, because they said, oh, you found this workout, and what do you do? And I'm like, oh, how do I explain that? I have these bats, but they're not really any bats. And I hear this man talking, but he's really not there. Kind of crazy. Well, thank you, Antonio, for being on the show. Do you happen to have any public social media that we can share, or do you what is that? Or how can people find you if they'd like to know more about you, or maybe have you on their show? Because I do have other podcasters who listen also.
No, I'm all up for it. Anybody who wants to hear me speak, I'm good for it. I like people, and in a time like this, we need more interaction, right? But you can check out all of my social media at One Coach Doc. One is spelled out ONE, Coach Doc. That's kind of my moniker on Supernatural. So that's what I go by as Coach Doc. And whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is Dr. Antonio Harrison. And with the idea that some of the members gave me about gear, there should be a Coach Doc website coming up here with the journal and maybe some apparel and some other cool stuff I'm thinking about.
That's amazing. And it was really easy to find you on social media, I will say, because I thought, I want to have this guy on my show because he's helped me a lot, even though he doesn't realize it. And it took me like 3 minutes to find you.
Nice.
So,
that's good to know.
Yes. So thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we wrap up?
I guess the only thing I'd like to say is, especially kind of where everything is these days, right? Like, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You know, a lot of the stuff that we feel, a lot of the stuff that is going on, we make it worse by throwing our own opinions and emotions and feelings on top of it. Mm-hmm. See it for what it is. And though this time is tough, take this time for yourself. It's okay to be selfish in that moment and get your own self in order, because things are going to continue to change. It's one of the constants in life. So try to enjoy it.
Love it. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. And everybody, thanks for listening. Be sure to tune in again next Friday. Thank you and have an amazing day, everybody. Thanks, you, Patty. Antonio.
Thank you for listening to Wake Up with Patti Katter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
Follow Patti at Patti Katter on Facebook and Instagram.
Get social.
You can now watch Wake Up with Patti Katter on Amazon TV and Roku.
It's the only podcast I listen to.
Be sure to check out Patti's apparel line, The Patriotic Mermaid, at thepatrioticmermaid.com and on social media at The Patriotic Mermaid.
I love it.
Special thanks to Patti's content creator, Alicia Thompson.
Thanks for all that you do.
Visit thompsoncreate.com for all your marketing and design inquiries.